Hi everyone, I'm Lucy Chapman, the Communications Assistant here at Nautilus International, and I'm joined with David Appleton, Head of Professional and Technical here at Nautilus, to discuss the rise of new alternative fuels in the shipping industry and the training involved. So, hi David, thank you for taking part in this interview. It's
Morning.
obviously a really important topic to ensure that with the rise of the new fuels, seafarers are at the heart of these discussions. So, new greener fuels are starting to come into use on ships, and many come with new hazards and dangers. Could you discuss the importance of training cadets and experienced officers on the safe handling and operation of vessels powered by these fuels?
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, it's hugely important. We've known that this transition's coming for some time. I think the decision of IMO last year, in regards to their revised greenhouse gas strategy and their commitment to net zero by 2050 or thereabouts, has brought it into focus, and we now know that this is coming and it's going to come fast when it does. So, I mean, just to put it into perspective, the Just Transition report, which came out last year, highlighted the fact that if IMO moved to net zero by 2050, we're looking at 800,000 seafarers who need training. So obviously, it is hugely important, both from a safety perspective. I think we've seen previously with the introduction of new technologies where it's been done in sort of a piecemeal way with sort of add-on courses and slow to adopt, that has actually had a detrimental effect on safety. For example, ECDIS, we saw a spate of accidents caused by poor understanding of ECDIS and a lack of training. With the introduction of low sulfur fuels, we had an increase in incidents in the engine room with leaks and with fires and blackouts and the like. So I think it's very important that this training is brought in ahead of time. It's done in a holistic way so we can, really address those safety concerns. And then, of course, there's the employment side of it as well, that there's seafarers out there now that have spent their whole careers working on the more traditional fuels that we use at the moment, and the technology we have now, and it's very important that their skills are maintained so they can that experience is kept, and we can keep those experienced seafarers in their jobs and doing their job safely.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, how are international maritime regulators doing at getting training requirements in place for the seafarers using the new fuels?
Well, we've got the comprehensive review of FTCW is ongoing at IMO. I think most people agree that's sort of where the end goal. That's where we see the actual comprehensive introduction of the comprehensive review of the training, so that those fuels are fully incorporated. But that's quite a long way off. They're looking at earliest adoption date of 2027 for those. Then you have entry into force, and then you have a period for national administrations to implement those rules, so that the actual implementation of mandatory requirements from the IMO is quite a long way off. And I think the introduction of the fuels is going to come before that. That's recognised at IMO. They have taken interim steps to get guidance out there ahead of that comprehensive review. So the human element training and watchkeeping subcommittee has been tasked with producing some non-mandatory guidance, with reviewing Part B of STCW, and they're also going to revise the training requirements in the IGF code, which applies to low flashpoint fuels. But they're all interim steps. It is all non-mandatory at that point, or in terms of the IGF code, it's we're looking at a short bolt-on course rather than a comprehensive change to how the training is carried out. So they are there. They are working on it, but whether or not it comes in before the companies start adopting the fuels, I think is very unlikely. So we're going to need to see, I think, some proactive measures from administrations, from training centres, to actually make sure the training's in place ahead of that.
Right. Okay. And so, in terms of national maritime regulators like the MCA in the UK, are they more likely to be quicker at developing these training programs? And how might that benefit the seafarers?
And well, they could be, but it all depends on how proactive they are. I think uh, there's a case for being proactive. I think those administrations that are proactive and do develop training ahead of time, they're going to find that one, their seafarers are an advantage, because when ship owners come looking for qualified people to operate their ships, they're going to find that if we've implemented it earlier in the UK or in the Netherlands than other countries have, then our seafarers are going to have an advantage in that regard. But there is a bit of a chicken and egg. I think some administrations they don't want to spend all the time developing the courses to then find that something different comes out of IMO. But the flip side of that is, if you do the work ahead of time, if you implement the programs in your national administrations, then you'll find that more often than not, what comes out of IMO will look very similar to what you've already done, because if you've already done the work, they're more than happy to to follow your lead. So some administrations are being more proactive than others, but we obviously, our position is that the more proactive you are and the quicker you get these programs up and running, the better it is for the seafarers from that country.
Yeah. Okay. And so in terms of the wider industry, are employers and colleges waiting for the STCW amendments, or do you think they're pressing ahead with developing training independently?
I think there's a mixture. I think there are some people pressing ahead. I know there's certain organisations that are looking at developing courses. There's an ongoing project at IMO, which is funded by Lloyd's Register Foundation, and IMO is looking at the gaps between current training and what's required for the new fuels, and they are looking to implement that. But interestingly, they're going to be trialing that in colleges in Asia, and they're not coming to Europe for that in the first stage. So that should be something of a wake-up call to the European administrations that are sitting and waiting. But again, I think it's a case of those that move quickest are going to have the advantage, and I think people need to recognise that, and that's what we're trying to get across in terms of the UK and Netherlands for our seafarers.
Yeah. Okay. And what is Nautilus doing to ensure that these ship owners and governments do implement adequate training?
So a number of measures. Obviously, we're fully involved in all of the ongoing discussions at IMO through the organisations we're affiliated to. So that's the International Transport Workers Federation, the International Federation of Shipmasters Associations. We attend those meetings as representatives of those organisations, and we're fully involved in all of those discussions and make sure that the seafarers' point of view is put across strongly. For our work with the ITF, we've put forward the Just Transition Task Force papers, which have identified the need to train seafarers. We've put forward the results of surveys, for example, of our members and Nautilus Federation members, showing the opinions and concerns of seafarers with regards to new fuels training. And obviously, nationally, we're doing everything we can as well to ensure that our national administrations are up there at the forefront. So in the UK, where obviously I'm based, we are heavily involved in what the Merchant Navy Training Board with the MCA and their ongoing review of the training program, and where any given opportunity, we're really pushing and trying to make sure that we are proactive and we've got that training ready. And the UK training can continue to be considered one of the go-to for fully competent, well-trained officers in the future with the new fuels and new technology.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, David. And thank you to everyone listening. And if you enjoyed this interview and want to learn more, you can read our in-depth written features on the Nautilus website and in the May-June 2024 edition of the Nautilus Telegraph. And make sure to join Nautilus for support wherever you are. Thank you.